Supervisor Stevens, I wish to make a complaint. A large, 8-legged being had entered sideways into what passed for Supervisor Stevens's office and was awkwardly trying to sit down on an ergonomic chair that had been designed by and for beings with far fewer than 8 legs. The supervisor sighed and got out the wheel chocks. "What is it this time?" she said. "Was the chicken soup 1.4 degrees too warm again?" "No, it is not that. I took your advice and put in a request to formally amend the chicken soup policy so that the optimum temperature at which it is to be served is described as an interval and not a point. Until the changes can be signed off by the nutritionally adequate rations coordinator, the interim chicken soup policy seems to be working well." "Is that the novel you stapled to the corkboard in the canteen?" "Yes. I am not entirely happy with it, but I'm sure Coordinator Bilge will make the appropriate amendments. It must be an oversight on his part that he has missed the many meetings I have scheduled to discuss the matter." Supervisor Stevens had secured the not particularly ergonomic chair, and her visitor balanced gingerly on top of it. "Well then, what's bothering you?" she said, returning to her own chair. It had been the one item she had insisted on bringing with her on the mining ship, a horrible plastic thing so uniquely uncomfortable that it had become a familiar friend. Her back pain would be lost without it. "My coworkers are refusing to address me by my title and chosen name. I am a fecal matter recycling inspector, 3rd grade, and I worked hard for my position. It ought not to be ignored, I think." "You're a magress grunt, same as the rest of us," said the supervisor tiredly. "Only you shovel more shit on account of having more. Hand things. What are they calling you anyway?" "Crab Dave." Supervisor Stevens snorted and then pretended she hadn't. "Look, us humans call each other by nicknames. That's just how it is. It's affectionate, if not particularly imaginative. I do not understand. I chose a common human name because my real name there was a high-pitched bubble and squeak that sounded like expensive trainers on a gas hobbies unpronounceable to you." "See over there," said Supervisor Stevens, when the ringing in her ears had stopped. "That's new Dave. He joined after Dave, so he's new Dave." New Dave waved a friendly hello through the see-through partition that offered at least temporary reprieve from the sounds and smells of the workplace. "Well, that makes some sense, I suppose. And which one is the original Dave?" "Oh, he retired about 10 years ago. But you can't change a name once it's stuck. Just ask Dave the Pedo." "Dave the what?" "He went out with a girl in the year below him. She'd been held back twice for trying to burn down the art department, so she was actually a year older than him, but still." "I see," said Crab Dave, who did not, in fact, see. "And there's Big Dave," said the supervisor, pointing at a small man who raised a middle finger in salute. "But he is the shortest of the Daves. It is illogical." "Yes. Funny though, isn't it?" Crab Dave attempted to scratch his chin in a non-committal fashion, and then remembered that he didn't have a chin, or anything to scratch it with. "My name might be Stevens," said the supervisor, "but ever since the first day of school, I've been Sevens." "Why is that?" "The key on the typewriter old Mr. Jones used to write the register was broken, and he was blind as a bat. So my name was read out as RACEYSEVENS. Probably lucky it was in lower school, to be honest." "But why would you not correct the error?" "I got off lightly, Wilf Tucker, not so much." Sevens idly wondered what had happened to her unfortunate classmate. "And my best friend joined from far away. When she got added to the remote learning environment, her class ID had 6 sixes in it. So we were 6s and 7s. Crab Dave nodded slowly. "Why does it have to be Crab Dave, though? Don't I get to choose?" "Well, I mean, you're a crab. Or at least you look like one. And no, that wouldn't do at all. You can't choose your own nickname." "You think Slow-Mo chose his?" "Maybe Inspector Mohammed ought to pay more attention to his duties," said Crab Dave, rather stiffly. He looked deflated. Sevens felt a pang of sympathy. It hadn't been easy growing up with the moniker. Too many digs at settling for 7s at the end of another school disco. Well, she'd settled for 6s, and that was that. "Right. How about we try to make something else stick?" What about sideways, Dave? It'll probably get shortened to sideways on account of the extra syllable, but if you can work with it, that's actually perfect. Thank you. Sideways means forwards in our language, so it is quite the compliment. I'll do what I can, said Sevens, rising from her seat, not promising anything though. Just try to emphasize sideways-ness, and I'll drop a few hints. Hey, sideways, you coming for a drink later? Sure thing. Scouse Dave. Fecal matter recycling inspector, 2nd grade. Sideways Dave was happy.